The first female serial killer in the world of crime and murder, the name Aileen Wuornos, is notorious. She was the first documented female serial killer in American history. Her gruesome crimes shocked the nation and continue to captivate audiences today. In this video, we'll dive into the disturbing case of Aileen Wuornos, her troubled childhood, her deadly rampage, and the events that led to her capture and eventual execution. Act 1. Early life and troubled childhood. Aileen Wuornos was born on February 29, 1959 in Rochester, Michigan. She had a tumultuous childhood filled with instability, abuse, and neglect. Her father was a convicted child molester who later committed suicide in prison. Her mother abandoned Aileen and her older brother Keith when Aileen was just 4 years old. Aileen and Keith were left to fend for themselves and were often forced to beg for food and money on the streets. At the age of 14, Aileen became pregnant and was sent to a home for unwed mothers. She gave birth to a baby boy who was immediately put up for adoption. Afterward, Aileen dropped out of school and began living on the streets as a prostitute. Act 3. The murders begin. Aileen Wuornos' killing spree began in 1989 when she shot and killed a man named Richard Mallory. Mallory was a convicted rapist who had picked up Aileen while she was working as a prostitute. Aileen claimed that she killed Mallory in self-defense after he tried to rape her. However, the evidence suggests that this was not the case. Over the next year, Aileen would go on to kill 6 more men, all of whom she claimed had either raped or attempted to rape her. The killings were brutal and cold-blooded, with Aileen shooting her victims at point-blank range. Act 3. The trial and execution in 1991. Aileen was finally caught after she was identified as the prime suspect in the murder of a man named David Spears. She was arrested and charged with 6 counts of first-degree murder. During the trial, Aileen's troubled past and history of abuse were brought to light, but it was not enough to save her from conviction. In 1992, Aileen Wuornos was sentenced to death for her crimes. Despite her pleas of self-defense and claims of abuse, she was found guilty and sentenced to die by lethal injection. Aileen spent 10 years on death row, during which time she became something of a celebrity. She gave interviews to the media and even had a movie about her made. On October 9, 2002, Aileen Wuornos was executed by lethal injection at the Florida State Prison. Her case remains one of the most disturbing and notorious in American history. Act 4. The aftermath. After her trial and conviction, Aileen Wuornos was sentenced to death and sent to Florida State Prison to await her execution. Throughout this time, she maintained her claims of self-defense and spoke openly about the abuse and trauma she had experienced throughout her life. Despite her efforts, Aileen's appeals were ultimately unsuccessful, and she was executed by lethal injection on October 9, 2002. Her case remains controversial, with many people arguing that she should have given a lighter sentence due to her history of abuse and mental health issues. Others maintain that her crimes were too heinous to be excused or mitigated by her personal circumstances. Act 5. Lessons learned. The case of Aileen Wuornos raises many important questions and lessons for society to learn from. First and foremost, her story highlights the devastating effects of abuse and neglect, particularly on children. Aileen's early experiences undoubtedly contributed to her descent into violence and underscored the need for better support systems and resources for those who have experienced trauma. Secondly, Aileen's case raises questions about the way the criminal justice system handles cases of abuse and self-defense. Her claims of self-defense were largely dismissed during her trial, which raises concerns about the way abuse victims are often ignored or disbelieved when they speak out. Finally, Aileen's case also highlights the need for more compassion and understanding towards those who are marginalized or on the fringes of society. As a sex worker and a woman, Aileen was a member of groups that are often stigmatized and ignored by society. Her story underscores the need for more empathy and support for those who are struggling with poverty, homelessness, and other forms of marginalization. While Aileen Wuornos' story is undoubtedly disturbing, it also raises questions about the way society treats those who are victims of abuse and neglect. Aileen's early life was filled with trauma and instability, which undoubtedly contributed to her eventual descent into violence. Her case highlights the need for better support systems for those who have experienced abuse and neglect, particularly for children who are at risk of being failed by system. Additionally, Aileen Wuornos' case also raises questions about the way the criminal justice system handles cases of abuse and self-defense. While it is clear that Aileen committed horrific crimes, it is also true that she was a victim of abuse and had a history of trauma. Her claims of self-defense were largely dismissed during her trial, raising concerns about the way abuse victims are often ignored or disbelieved when they speak out. In the end, Aileen Wuornos' case serves as a cautionary tale about the devastating effects of abuse and neglect. While her crimes were heinous, it is important to remember and understand that she was also a victim in her own right. By acknowledging the complexities of her story and addressing the systemic failures that led to her downfall, we can also work towards preventing similar tragedies in the future. Another important aspect to consider when examining Aileen Wuornos' case is the issue of mental illness. While Aileen was never diagnosed with a specific mental disorder, it is clear that she was struggling with serious mental health issues. Her history of abuse and neglect likely contributed to the development of mental health problems, which may have gone untreated. Furthermore, Aileen's behavior and actions, such as erratic behavior, may be during her trial and her statements to the media, suggest that she may have been experiencing psychosis or other mental health symptoms. This raises questions about the way the criminal justice system handled cases involving mental illness and highlights the need for better support systems and resources for struggling with mental health issues. Finally, Aileen Wuornos' case also serves as a cautionary tale about the way society treats who are marginalized on the fringes of society. The case of Aileen Wuornos is a chilling reminder of the horrors that humans are capable of. Her troubled childhood, abusive past, and the life on the streets all contributed to her eventual descent into madness and murder. While her claims of self-defense may have been true in some cases, the evidence suggests that her killings were premeditated and cold-blooded. Aileen Wuornos will forever be remembered as the first female serial killer in American history. Her case highlights the need for more compassion and understanding towards those who are struggling with poverty, homelessness, and other forms of marginalization. In conclusion, the case of Aileen Wuornos is a complex and disturbing one that raises important questions about abuse, mental illness, and societal marginalization. While her crimes were heinous, it is important to remember that she was also a victim in her own right and that there are systemic issues that contributed to her downfall. By examining her story and addressing these larger issues, we can work towards creating a more just and compassionate society for all. From the chilling details of the crimes to the heartbreaking story of a life gone awry, Aileen Wuornos' case is the one that will stay with you long after the video ends. If you want to stay engaged with our content and continue exploring true crime cases like this one, hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey.